Hi guys, this is Jay here, and today I'm going to be talking about how you can upload a static website to AWS, or when you have a domain name, you can have subdomains under a domain. So how you can have multiple domains or multiple websites with subdomains under a particular domain in AWS, that's what we're going to talk about. And in order to form subdomains under a particular domain in AWS is pretty difficult, and people at times find it difficult to do, to make it work, and that's why I'm going to talk about it today, and step by step I'm going to tell you how it can be fixed or can be done. So as you can see, I've logged into AWS console right now, and I'll tell you how you can upload a basic static website to AWS. So the very first thing that you can do is, once you have logged into your AWS console and you click on this, you will see here there's a path available to host a static website. You can just click on that, and when you go to the next page, now you can see that I have already hosted a website, which is this, and there's another option which allows you to host another website or host a new website. You might not have this because this is the one I have hosted already, so for you might get only this option if you have not hosted it. Once you click on that, what we can do is, in order to have a website, you need to have a domain name. So you can buy a domain name from GoDaddy or any other provider. I have bought, and you can also buy a domain name from AWS. In order to buy a domain name from AWS, you gotta go to Route 53. Yeah, this is it. And once you go here, I have already bought a domain name, so that's why it shows one domain and then hosted zones. You can go here, registered domains, and you can just click on register domain, and you can try to buy a domain from here. Say I'm trying to buy fillout.com, so let's see if it's available. Fillout.com is not available, it shows. So you can buy fill.show, fillout.biz, and this is the price for that particular domain. You can just do add to cart and then pay for it. Basically it's gonna add to your billing and then charge your card that much amount of money, that sum of money. So what we're going to do is, in order to host the static website, we again going to go here, and this is the website that I have. This is my hosted website, and I'll show you. This is my website. So the basically domain, my domain name is dgentripathi.com. That's my name. So that's my domain name that I bought from Amazon AWS, and this is the subdomain under my domain name. That's profile. I have another like videos, I have another solutions, and I have different subdomains under this particular domain, and this is the one I'm showing you right now. That's profile. So basically what you do is, in order to host your, once you have bought the domain name and you have your static website ready, you have already made it, and you have the set of files in your local machine, the CSS files, HTML files. So what you can do, whatever domain name you have bought, you can just put it here like fillout.com, and then for fillout.com, suppose you have a set of files, the index HTML and all those files. You can just suppose this is my folder which has got all the files, the CSS files, then the image files, HTML files, and all that. What I would do is, I would zip the complete folder or all these folders and files, and after zipping I've got this file, so I'm gonna open that file and attach it to the AWS. Once you have attached that particular file to AWS, it's gonna parse the file, do a set of work on that particular file, do a set of parsing operations or different kind of operations, and then it's gonna show you that you have 4 MB worth of images in this particular folder or zip. You have JS files, you have CSS files, and this is their size and all that, and then you can click on create website. When you click on create website, what it does is, it basically tries to create the distribution for your website. Right now it's uploading those files, and once the upload has been done, it's gonna try to create the distribution. So this is the distribution that it's creating. And one more thing that I would like to tell you, once you upload a particular set of files, what it does is, it creates an S3 bucket for you. From here you can go to S3. So it creates a bucket for you. Right now you can see for my original website, the domain for my subdomain website, it has created a bucket which has got all the files, you know, for that particular website. But this is another bucket, like the fill out that we just created. So it has created one bucket for that fill out website domain name, and this is gonna have all the files like the index.html file and all different files, error files, CSS files, everything is gonna be in that bucket. And then there's something called distribution and a hosting space in AWS. So basically distribution is, let me show you the distribution. So the content management or content distribution is handled by CloudFront, which is a part of AWS system. Now CloudFront, what it would do was, it's gonna create a distribution for your website. If you say this is in progress, I guess this is the one for that. You can see the origin, which is basically the S3 bucket, and it is fillout.com. So yeah, this is the one which is being created for that. And right now you can check the status, it is in progress, it has not been completely deployed. So basically what distribution does is, distribution is, suppose you have a domain name and you go to www.google.com, it takes you to a DNS server which basically says there's an IP address which has been mapped to this domain name, and go to that IP address and it will service your request. So basically what happens, you know, this distribution is gonna service your request. So your request will go to DNS, and then DNS will give an IP address where the service is going to be that particular request is going to be serviced, and this distribution is responsible for servicing that request. Now let's see where that request is going to go, to which DNS server that's going to give it the IP address for that request to be serviced. So for that, what needs to be done is, let me show you. It's kind of taking time to upload. I'll go back to that page here. So you need to go to Route 53. Route 53 is the one from where we bought our domain. So this is that hosted zone is going to do that job for you. So I already have my domain name, and under my domain name I have a subdomain. So here you can see I have a subdomain, profile.mydomainname.com, information.mydomainname.com. I have these two different domains. So now the thing is, when you are creating a subdomain, suppose you have this domain name and you know you want a subdomain to handle this particular kind of information, kind of your profile kind of request, and then you have another subdomain which is gallery, that's gonna have all the pictures and videos maybe and all that. So you can have different subdomains. Now this particular profile subdomain only shows information about me, who I am, what I do, and all that. So basically, in order to create this profile under that particular domain, in order to create a subdomain, you will say create record set. So when you say create record set, you can always see that here, right here, my domain name is listed. Now what's my subdomain going to be? That's what it's asking, the name of the subdomain. So I say my subdomain is going to be gallery. So then it's going to ask what's the IP address for that particular subdomain going to be. Either you can give the IP address or you can give an alternate. So if you click on this alias SES, here you can define the distribution. Directly select that specific distribution and you can say, you know, this distribution is supposed to service that particular request. Right now I'm not going to do it. I already have a website, so we'll take an example because that's taking time to upload and all that, you know, shoot that particular host that particular website or create the distribution for that website. So I'm going to show you my own website as an example so that you guys can understand how it works. So that's, now this is my website and this is the distribution which has been created for it. Let's go to CloudFront and see the distribution. It's loading, and this is the domain. Now one thing you can see is this domain name is different from this domain name, the complete domain, and it is different because what I did was initially I hosted my website on this domain on this page, but then I thought, why not create a subdomain like profile and then have all the data over there, so that I can use, multiple subdomains to service different kinds of requests, or to have different kind of information scattered all over the website. So I created a subdomain for this, and how I did that, let me show you guys that. Now here the distribution has already opened, so you can see here there are 3 distributions. One is for the fill out, and the other 2 are for my website, my domain name, and you can see both of them are deployed and one of them is enabled. Now this is something you need to pay attention to. Only one of them is enabled, which is profile.mydomainname.com. so that's the only one deployed right now and working. Now there's one more thing when you create and here is something, let me just show you this real quick. And here is my domain name and then the subdomains, 2 of the subdomains. Now when you trying to create a subdomain, create record set, you click on that to create a subdomain. When you're trying to create a subdomain, 2 things you can do. You can either create a subdomain, say gallery, and say that you have this IP address to which which is going to service that request, so there's a distribution that's going to service that request, and then create using, if you click on this create, it's going to create that particular subdomain. Or there's another thing, if you see there are so many options. So under DNS, there are many record sets, like you can have an address, or you can have a canonical name, you can have a mail exchange and different things. You can Google about these different record sets and how DNS works and what is DNS. You can search that on Google. It will give you like great piece of information on that. DNS is basically domain name system. So once you have a root, and then from root it comes down to com.net and .org, and then if you have something like say mydomain.com, it's gonna come to the com, and then from com DNS server it's gonna go to your my domain and then service request over there. So it's a hierarchy. You can read about it on Google. But then right here, once when I'm trying to create this, I can create a canonical name, which means basically it's an alternative name. Suppose I have a subdomain profile.mydomain.com already present, and I want information.mydomain.com, which is another subdomain, to point to profile.mydomain.com, so that if somebody tries to access that information.mydomain.com, he should be redirected to the profile one. So how we can do that? There are 2 ways of doing it. From here you can create a canonical name, or what you can do, the best thing to be done is you can go to the distribution, because in the distribution we have already specified, like this distribution, I'll show you now. So this particular distribution serves this canonical name, or it serves this particular you can say subdomain. Now I can edit a particular distribution. Let me edit this real quick. How can I edit? Let's click on that and say edit. So if you see, this particular distribution is serving 2 of the subdomains, that is profile.mydomain.com and information.mydomain.com, which you can see right here. If you want this one to also serve, say www.mydomain.com, you can just add that. Now once you have added that one, which you can do, let me just check it real quick, you can just save it. So now this distribution, if a request comes for profile.mydomain.com or information.mydomain.com or www.mydomain.com, all these 3 requests are going to be handled by this particular distribution. Okay, so now if we go to our Amazon R3, which should be here, if you go to this one, here we need to tell that this particular system that if a request comes for www.mydomainname.com, that particular distribution is going to serve that kind of request. So this is what I need to say. And how am I going to say this? How am I going to tell the system to follow that rule? I'm gonna create a subdomain which is www dot, and I'm gonna give it say v4. I'm gonna give it an address, and that address is gonna be again the distribution. So it's gonna be the same distribution because okay. Let's set. Now I've given it's gonna be an alias. I've created already. So now you would see if I try to access profile or information or let me just take a look at it real quick. There's something wrong, I guess. Give me just 1 minute. Yes, looks alright. Might have created a mistake where we have our distributions, and then we can go here real quick and check out my distribution. Yeah. So now you might ask me as in why that is not working. That is not working because the status is in progress and the web application has not been deployed yet, as you can see here. So once this has been deployed, it should be working. It's processing right now. I guess it's gonna take a minute or two. So that's how you create subdomains and host your static website on AWS. That's the way you do it. And there are different options when you do this content delivery management, when you do content management or delivery using the CloudFront. There are many different options available like compression, caching, logging. So you can take advantage of all those. And as you can see right here, this is one of the websites of fill out which we were trying to create. It's all still creating the distribution. It takes around 10 to 15 minutes in order to do that. And once this distribution has been created, what you can do is you can go to add a domain to it right from here, and you can check for an existing domain. This is the existing domain, but I don't want to attach that to this particular domain, so I won't do it. But if you have any other domain, or you can just buy a domain and then attach it. If you have any other domain, just try it out and it should work for you. If in case it does not work for you, in the comment section you can just comment and I'll definitely help you out with that. In case you face any problem, you can always let me know and I'll have a Skype session with you and update you on how that can be done and how you can take advantage of AWS. It's still in progress, taking time. You see now it's working.